Like I say, I might have thrown more than one person off the deck of the ship because one girl might have said, "Well, I never liked that man anyway." No one did, or something like that. Like he might have raped a girl or forced his way on a girl or shot someone. I don't know. There were a couple incidents. There's probably like 50 incidences that I had to weigh in on because they wanted to talk to the owner of the company. Yes, Lucifer Star, mining and shipping. How may I help you? I was a little younger then. I was like 9. You're age 9, age 8, or something like that. I was like, Lucifer Star, mining and shipping. How can I help? I love saying that line. I love that line. I loved it. I was like, oh, I get to say my line. Lucifer Star, mining and shipping. How can I help? Anyway, it was my favorite line to say because I never got to say anything. You know, and it was like my one line. It was like my one line, like the name of my company, and all that. So I was always so happy to just whatever anybody would call. So I'd be like, yes, how can I help? Mm-hmm. And so, like, there were a couple of men where, like one person was supposedly a really powerful person and really influential and all that other stuff, and I was like, throw him off the ship. Or something like that, or lock him up in the jail, or something like that. There were a couple of people where people were like, we never thought anybody would actually be that brave. I'm like, what did I just do? Anyway, no, I forget what they say. I don't remember actually. I wish I could remember. No, but there was one guy in particular that was like really dangerous and really scary, and like you didn't ever do anything bad to him. Like there were a couple people like in the world that basically were as like they're like, I am a god, and I was like, throw him off the ship. Yeah, there's a couple people that were like, nobody ever stands up to him, and I stood up to them. So anyway, yeah, I was loved. I was that one guy. I was that one. Well, I mean, I was too old and powerful to have to play the game. People would say, well, you got to play the game. It's like, what game? Is it like a Parcheesi? Parcheesi. I don't even think it was a game, actually. I was like, what is it, like Parcheesi? Like making a cheese joke, actually. Or something like that. I was being cute. And I was like, that's not really a game, is it? Anyway, there was, and a couple of times, like to one guy, I said, well, I was never very good at Stratego. Like just basically acting like a 2-year-old. Like, the great Lucifer Star, my monumental Titanic Leviathan. What's it called? 3 or 10 of the greatest, most powerful battleships. Satellites. I'm never very good at Stratego. I just like to downplay myself a lot. I really like because basically it's like to actually be like to be like my enemy is like almost like the earth basically turns against you, and basically you will ships will hunt you in the night, submarines will bar your passage, bombers will bomb you into submission, and then we can nuke you on top of all that. And it's like, yeah, that's the business end. But I was never very good at Stratego. I just like to always break the ice. Always like, because it's like also leader of 12 race of four exoskeleton races and 1.5 foot tall life forms. Wicked fast. Grew up on like a 7G planet, or some high gravity planet, basically. Built for gravities. Anyway, so basically it's like, it's like, so it's like, so I always like to downplay myself because it's like, well, yeah, it's like also the creator of stars, 800 galaxies. And it's like, well, yeah, there's that, but I'm on vacation, so I was never very good at Stratego. So I always like to downplay it because generally it's like, yeah, well, yeah, it is like that, but I don't play it up, because it's like, yeah, well, I mean, if it gets like that, then yeah, it's gonna be like that. Where I could just like, well, how much of the Earth are we gonna cover bomb today? Okay, start at the beachfront and work your way in. you know, we could do that, but I never did. I didn't do that. No, I didn't have to. Everyone was like, yes, sir. I was like, oh, that's better. You know, so, I mean, and there was times when it was like the whole world was like getting in the first shot. Okay. Now you've done it. All right, fire back. You know, it's like, you know, where, you know, it's like, you know, that was my rule always. Like, don't punch first, you know, always just, you know, because otherwise you're just, you know, if you just go around just like, you know, then it's like, you know, you never know who you just hit. You know, who you just took out. You could take out your best friend. And it's like, great, well, that's what happens. Now he's dead. You know, and that guy is actually like the greatest ally you ever had. And actually is like the guy that like backs you up, and in the moment that you're about to die, he's like just like pulling your head back, and it's like, ah, thank you. You know, it's like, yeah, you're about to walk off a cliff. It's like, oh, okay, great. That's cool. You know, because you never know. Like if you go around just punching people and just taking people out, you know, you might have accidentally just killed your greatest ally. That's like the one guy that's going to be there, that's going to like grab you and like, it's like, well, they're about to kill you, so you're alive. Like, thank you. You know, so like I always learned, you know, I never punch first because like I am Lucifer Star, so, and the creator of 12 races. So, you know, I found a lot of times that sometimes my greatest allies are the ones that they didn't just go, let's take them out. You know, the people I was like, no, that doesn't seem fair. No. Ah, that guy. There you go, yeah. Yeah, he looks like the guy. You know, so like being more careful and not taking out people is basically what pretty much also made me, because I wasn't like psycho, like punch first, you know, and I was always like, well, let's wait a bit and see what's actually happening here. You know, we think it's like this, but let's make sure it is actually, and then let's hit them with everything. You know, so it puts me at a disadvantage. It put me at a serious disadvantage. But like I said, generally I had things waiting in the back of the halls. You know, I had things basically that they were like, yep, well, it's been 30 years since we built this baby. Wheel her out. You know, just like A10 Warthog. I've been waiting to use one of those. You know, where it's like I got it, I just don't use it. You know, until that one day when it's like, well, it's a good day to end the world. Time to get up. You know, so like, you know, I just, you know, that I was always like the guy, you know, I could, but I didn't. Because like, you know, I mean, you know, I always wanted to make sure. And like, that was always my thing is my people always knew that he always wants to make sure. It's like, yeah, I want to make sure that we're getting the right guy. Because like I say, that was another trick that almost got me one time. Like people were framing other people. So it looks like it's this guy. And like, you take him out. And it's like, yeah, that was the one guy that was actually trying to defend you. Yeah, and you just killed him. You know, because sometimes I'd be like, well, it's not actually this guy. It's actually that guy. Ah, get him. You know, where because they were doing that for a bit. You know, where they were blaming someone else, and like if I had just punched first, then I would have just taken them out. But I was like, no. Let's make sure. I want to be sure. Let's talk to him too. And let's make sure about this. Because I always was careful. So, because, you know, like people were doing that. They were going around blaming people and saying, and basically framing people. And I was like, yeah, I've known this guy and he's pretty cool so far. And so I'm not sure about this. So let's check it out first. So I was always checking things out. You know, always doing like investigations. All right, pick everything apart. Every logbook, every stone, every cockroach. Ask that cockroach what happened. You know, just like that. You know, I mean, I was a little ridiculous. It's true. You know, I'd wait 5 years to find out, okay, it was this guy and he's over there. And where it's like, you know, but we get the right guy. So, yeah. I mean, that's the thing. And so, you know, and that's partly what made me me. And why people were like, well, yeah, you know, it's Lucifer. So, anyway, so people, you know, it was kind of weird. You know, because that's what all the investigations were about and everything else was about, because I wanted to be absolutely sure. And like I say, it turned out sometimes that I was wrong. You know, and sometimes I was right. And sometimes, you know. So, you know, it was a long, confusing way. And basically, I guess I'm kind of lucky to be alive in here. because it was basically like at any one point in time I could have just gone. I mean, there were many times when I almost would have, when I wouldn't be here. I almost did. I was this close to basically like, and then it's somebody else in this chair, and probably in the White House. Anyway, though, I was just too good. So, whatever.